Hi, I'm Reverend Nicole Riley. I'm the Interim Director of New Ministries for the CalPAC Conference. And I'm here to share with you today a little bit about messy church to help you discern if this might be something you and your congregation would like to do. Before we jump into what messy church is, let me give you a little bit of context as to where we sit as the United Methodist Church at this point in our history, and why something like messy church might make sense for you. So, our traditional model of getting people to come to church is what's called an attractional model. It's demonstrated here on this billboard at the fictitious church of First Church Springfield. Youth group tonight, games, prizes, Xbox, pizza, and maybe a little Bible study. In other words, doing whatever it takes to make church attractive. Trying to get people to come into church, believing that once they got in, they would find something valuable. The attractional church model is still important today, but we're finding that there are other needs in the community as well, and different ways of approaching getting people into relationship with God. It's probably not a surprise to you that the United Methodist Church is in decline. What might be a surprise is that, statistically speaking, it's been in decline since the mid-1960s. The news isn't all bad, though. We have had some increases. Our net assets have increased 217%. Our total giving is up 144%. And our giving per worshiper is up 178%. This is, of course, adjusting for inflation. So these are actual numbers that give you an idea that while we've been in decline, there have been increases in the Methodist Church. Now here's where it gets a bit difficult, especially if you're an adult or an older adult. Coming is what's called by sociologists the death tsunami, which basically means that the death rate will increase because of an aging population. Currently, the death rate statistics show we're in the middle of a plateau. But what will follow the plateau is called the death tsunami and will have a major impact on many churches in the United States. It's predicted that between 2019 and 2050, there will be more deaths and a higher death rate than at any time since the 1940s, when medical advances such as antibiotics were introduced. The total number of deaths each year is predicted to go up every year until 2050 as baby boomers pass away. I'm a member of Gen X, and at that time I'll be 89. It is predicted that there will be 50% more deaths in 2050 than there were in 2010. In addition, it's helpful to remember that different generations participate in church in different percentages. For example, recent statistics state that the builder generation is the generation that is most represented in church, with 65% of them in church each week. Baby boomers are only about 35% in church each week. It decreases quite radically with Gen Xers, who only about 15% of the Gen X population are in church each week. And it goes way down for millennials, who the oldest have just turned 30, with only 4% in church each week. As most of our Methodist churches are built on builder generations and some boomer generations, the death tsunami will have a deep and lasting effect on the Methodist Church. Another interesting piece of this is that we now live in a time where Protestants, those who claim a Protestant faith, of which the United Methodist Church is part of the larger Protestant faith, that have fallen below 50% of the population. You can see in this chart that while there are still lots who claim a Protestant faith, those numbers are decreasing. What number is rising? The number one group that's rising are the nuns. Now, I don't mean Roman Catholic nuns, N-U-N-S. I mean none, as in no faith, N-O-N-E-S. This group is almost doubling each time they do surveys. It seems that there is a rising number of people who have no connection with church. And in fact, we're in a time where you might have 2, 3, even 4 generations of folks who have no religious affiliation. Not Protestant, not Catholic, not Buddhist, not Muslim, no faith tradition at all. One of the things we've learned about the unaffiliated is that they are a demographically broad-based group. The growth of the unaffiliated has taken place across a wide variety of demographic groups. The percentage of the unaffiliated respondents has ticked up among both men and women, college graduates and those without a college degree, people earning $75,000 a year or more, and those making less than $30,000 a year annually, and residents of all major regions of the country. So those that are unaffiliated are not just found in one area or in one group of people, but are more broadly represented. One of the things that's interesting is the beliefs and practices of this group. In terms of their religious beliefs and practices, the unaffiliated are a diverse group and far from uniformly secular. Just 5% say they attend worship services on a weekly basis, but 1/3 of the unaffiliated say religion is at least somewhat important in their lives. 2/3 believe in God, though less than half say they're absolutely certain of God's existence. And although a substantial minority of the unaffiliated consider themselves neither religious nor spiritual, the majority describe themselves as a religious person, 18%, or as a spiritual but not religious person, 37%. I'm sorry to be giving you all this bad news. I know it's really hard. We all feel the loss of what was. But what we can know is God is faithful, and that God is with us in this new world and in this new time. Our sanctuaries hunger for new people who are looking for God. And I do believe that we in the Methodist Church have the flexibility, the passion, and the faith to reach out to new generations, those groups of people who do want to be connected with the church, but will not, for whatever reason, come through our doors on Sunday morning and participate in traditional worship, no matter how friendly the congregation, how great and relevant the sermon, and no matter how worshipful the music. We have to be willing to try to do new things. We started off by talking about the attractional model. And the attractional model is the model most of us operate under, trying to attract people to come to worship at our church. In today's world, what we know is that the attractional model, while still relevant, is not the only model we need to operate from. We also need to embrace being a missional people. What's the difference? Well, the attractional model is mostly what we know. The church is a place. We're seeker targeted, that is, we're wanting to have new people come. Evangelism is happening inside the church. We're about having good programs. Mission is often one of our programs. We're practical. Growth is about numbers. We care about statistics. Our structure is often complex. Being culturally relevant is important. We're about being firm and established in the community. We preserve the organization. We're about being an institution. Worship is to attract people. Preaching is to be applied to your life. The weekend is our big event, and it's a gradual, implicit gospel. There's nothing the matter with that. In fact, as we move into this brave new world, we need to keep a lot of these things. But we also need to add a lot too. We need to add this missional model. For the difference, look at the chart and see how, while the church is a place in attractional, in missional, the church is the people. Instead of being seeker targeted, we still care about seekers, but we're mindful of them. Evangelism happens outside the walls. Instead of things being a lot of programs, there's more of an improvisational feel. Missions isn't a program. Mission is the purpose of the church. We're more intuitive, with our growth being about the health of the church. There's a great importance on the stories of the church and a desire for the structure to be simple. We're culturally engaged, flexible, and organic. The organization isn't the core and is more expendable. We are less of an institution and more of an organism. Worship, while sure is attractional, is also a time of great reflection. Preaching, while still having application, is also proclamation of a message many people have never heard. The weekend, which is often the center of our life in the local church, is now an assembly instead of all that we do. And our gospel is a regular, explicit gospel. So how do we navigate this brave new world? Well, I think one of the things that will happen is we're going to be trying a lot of different things to see what it is that will work in our context. What is it that will draw people into a relationship with the living Christ? What is it that will connect people with church? One of the things that has been working in the United Kingdom, which is ahead of the United States in decline, is what's called messy church. This is not something we're making up here in Calpac. This is something that has a tried and true record in the UK with 100,000 people attending messy church. So what is messy church? It's a church for adults and children to enjoy together. That means children do not go off during the sermon time, mostly because there is no sermon time. It's primarily for people who don't belong to another form of church already. It's all age, it's fun. Its aim is to introduce Jesus, to give an opportunity to encounter him, and to grow closer to him. It usually includes some creative time to explore biblical themes through getting messy, a celebration time which might involve story, prayer, song, games, and similar, and a meal together. Its values are those of hospitality, creativity, and celebration. It models and promotes good ways of growing as a family, a nuclear family, an extended family, and a global and local family. It meets any time during the week at a time most convenient for people locally. It usually meets once a month. The components of messy church. There are basically four components of messy church. It starts out with a relaxed time of welcome, which also has a time for checking in and a snack. Then there's an activity-based learning time with Bible-themed crafts, games, prayers, and other activities. Then there's a short worship time, usually with songs, stories, and prayer. And then there's a sit-down meal for everyone. It's also important, I think, to understand what messy church isn't. It isn't just for children. The importance of having multi-generations worship together is a value of Messy Church. So when you design Messy Church gatherings, there needs to be something for everyone. It also isn't a club. Messy Church is about worshiping God. It's about faith, and faith matters. It's there for the outsider. It's church. Messy Church isn't also a way to get people to come to church on Sunday. Many of the people who are part of your Messy Church won't come to Sunday worship. They might take advantage of some other Sunday opportunities you have, or during the week opportunities for Bible study, youth group, and other programs. But this is their worship service, their church. Messy Church also isn't just for families. Singles are comfortable and welcome there, the young and the old. It's not just also for church families. Messy Church is to reach people in your community, not just those who are already there. Messy Church isn't a quick fix. Growing disciples takes time. Messy Church will take time. Messy Church also isn't an easy option. It will take money, time, commitment, and energy. But here's an important word. Messy Church isn't a drain on church resources. For while it will take time, energy, and money, it will take gifted people to run it and people who care about reaching others for Christ. It will not be a drain on church resources. In fact, it will be something that will gather people and enable ministry to go forward. Messy Church isn't also a franchise model. Each Messy Church has the opportunity to do things in a way that makes sense. While we will teach the basics of what Messy Church is, there's lots of room for Messy Church to be just who you are. What do you do from here? What if trying out Messy Church interests you? Well, here's what you need to know. In the CalPAC conference, we'll be doing trainings almost monthly in 2014. We're looking for churches that would like to host a training. For that to happen, we would need 3 churches at each training because we believe in churches working collaboratively, connectionally, as it were. If you would like to host one of those trainings, we'd love to have you do so. We're looking to set up trainings in each of our districts, including Hawaii. Trainings will be Friday night and Saturday till about 3. More specifics are available. To be part of a training, a church would have to do the following things. Have a team of people who would want to lead the Messy Church team. Now you might ask, how many people and what would they do? Well, we think about 5 people is a good number. And some of what you'd need people to do is publicity and advertising, getting the word out about Messy Church. You need someone with a gift of hospitality who would help in welcoming. You would need people who are gifted at storytelling and leading music. Someone who is good at crafts, games, sports type of activity. And you'd need someone who could cook a good meal. We recommend 5 people on the team who can gather others. People who love others, who have energy and excitement, who want to reach new people for Jesus Christ. These are the kind of people you'd want on your Messy Church team. Once you gather a team, you'd need to talk to your ad council about it and make sure that they're okay. Your body may not be called ad council, but it's basically the governing body of your church. You want to make sure they're okay with this idea and that this is something they vote to support. In addition, you need a budget for Messy Church. Messy Church, being a once-a-month thing, can cost anywhere from $50 a month to way more than that, depending on how many people you have, what kind of food you serve, what kind of crafts you do. Some churches have resources to keep things down to under $50 a month. But many churches are finding between $100 and $200 a month is what they need to pull off a successful Messy Church. We can talk more about the numbers as well as the team, and I'd be happy to talk to you directly about that. So I hope this video has given you a little bit of sense about Messy Church and that you're interested in pursuing the opportunities that we're offering to start messy churches. Our goal here in the CalPAC conference is to start 50 messy churches in the next 5 years, and we sure hope you'll be one of them. Thanks for listening. Contact me if you need any more information. God bless.